Welcome to IB Academy's Life in the UK series. In this video, we are going to take up the practice test for Chapter 3 of the study guide. Before we begin, please check out the study guide videos first. The third chapter is about the long and illustrious history of the UK, and this is the practice test for its first part, the early Britain. So, let's begin. The first question is, when did the first people inhabit Britain? Your options are the Jurassic period, the Stone Age, ancient times, the Bronze Age. Correct answer, the Stone Age. Explanation: the initial inhabitants of Britain were hunter-gatherers during the era known as the Stone Age. Reference: Chapter 3, A Long and Illustrious History, Early Britain. The next question is, when did the initial farmers arrive in Britain? Your options are 6,000 years ago, 8,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago. Correct answer, 6,000 years ago. Explanation: the initial farmers came to Britain 6,000 years ago. Reference: Chapter 3, A Long and Illustrious History, Early Britain. What significant event took place in England in 1066? Your options are the Romans departed from England, the construction of the Offa Dyke, the Battle of Bannockburn, the Norman invasion. Correct answer, the Norman invasion. Explanation: in 1066, an invasion led by William, the Duke of Normandy, now part of northern France, defeated Harold, the Saxon King of England, at the Battle of Hastings. Harold was killed during the battle. William became the King of England and is referred to as William the Conqueror. Reference: Early Britain, the Norman Conquest. Where did Bronze Age people bury their dead? Your options are round barrows, round houses, burial mounds, earth barrows. Correct answer, round barrows. Explanation: about 4,000 years ago, people discovered how to create bronze. This era is known as the Bronze Age. They lived in round houses and placed their deceased in tombs known as round barrows. Which of the following is a well-known Stone Age site in the UK? Your options are Stonehenge, Windsor Castle, Globe Theatre, Nelson's Column. Correct answer, Stonehenge. Explanation: among these monuments, Stonehenge remains in the current English county of Wiltshire. Reference: Chapter 3, A Long and Illustrious History, Early Britain. Which records provide information about England during William I's reign? Your options are Domesday Book, Magna Carta, Bayeux Tapestry, Diary of Samuel Pepys. Correct answer, Domesday Book, Bayeux Tapestry. Explanation: William, known as William the Conqueror, became the King of England. His victory is celebrated in a significant embroidery piece called the Bayeux Tapestry, which is still displayed in France today. William commissioned individuals to travel throughout England to compile lists of all towns and villages. They recorded the residents, landowners, and the animals they possessed. This compilation was known as the Domesday Book. Reference: Early Britain, the Norman Conquest. What language did people speak in the Iron Age? Your options are English, Latin, Anglo-Saxon, Celtic. Correct answer, Celtic. Explanation: the majority of the population were farmers, craftsmen, or warriors. They spoke a language that belonged to the Celtic language family. Which queen is known for her fight against the Romans? Your options are Elizabeth, Victoria, Anne, Boudica. Correct answer, Boudica. Explanation: Boudica, the Queen of the Iceni in present-day eastern England, was one of the tribal leaders who resisted the Romans. Reference: Early Britain, the Romans. When did England last experience a successful invasion? Your options are 1642, 1940, 1066, 1415. Correct answer, 1066. Explanation: in 1066, William, the Duke of Normandy, from present-day northern France, led an invasion that defeated Harold, the Saxon King of England, at the Battle of Hastings. Harold was killed during the battle. William then became the King of England and is referred to as William the Conqueror. Reference: Early Britain, the Norman Conquest. Where did the Vikings originate from? Your options are France and Luxembourg, Germany and Austria, Belgium and Holland, Denmark and Norway. Correct answer, Denmark and Norway. Explanation: the Vikings originated from Denmark and Norway. Reference: Early Britain, the Vikings. How many years did the Romans occupy Britain? Your options are 400 years, 50 years, 100 years, 600 years. Correct answer, 400 years. Explanation: the Romans were in Britain for 400 years. Reference: Early Britain, the Romans. What actions did St. Augustine and St. Columba take during the Anglo-Saxon era? Your options are: they were brave fighters. They were early Christian missionaries. They developed new agricultural methods. They led a rebellion in Wales. Correct answer: they were early Christian missionaries. Explanation: missionaries from Ireland brought the faith to the north. The most notable among them were Saint Patrick, who became the patron saint of Ireland, and Saint Columba, who established a monastery on the island of Iona, located off the coast of present-day Scotland. Saint Augustine directed missionaries from Rome, who propagated Christianity in the south. Reference: Early Britain, the Anglo-Saxons. Which of these statements is accurate? Your options are: the Roman army departed from England after 400 years to protect other regions of their empire. The Roman army departed from England after 150 years to protect other regions of their empire. Correct answer: the Roman army departed from England after 400 years to protect other regions of their empire. Explanation: the Roman army left Britain in AD 410 to protect other regions of the Roman Empire and never came back. Reference: Early Britain, the Anglo-Saxons. Which of these statements is true? Your options are: the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms in England came together under King Alfred the Great. The Anglo-Saxon kingdoms were brought together under King Kenneth MacAlpin. Correct answer: the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms in England came together under King Alfred the Great. Explanation: the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms in England united under King Alfred the Great, who overcame the Vikings. Reference: Early Britain, the Vikings. Which of these statements is accurate? Your options are: the Battle of Agincourt is depicted in the Bayeux Tapestry. The Battle of Hastings is depicted in the Bayeux Tapestry. Correct answer: the Battle of Hastings is depicted in the Bayeux Tapestry. Explanation: this battle is represented in a famous piece of embroidery called the Bayeux Tapestry, which remains on display in France today. Reference: Early Britain, the Norman Conquest. Which of these statements is true? Your options are: Hadrian's Wall was constructed under the command of the Roman Emperor Hadrian. Hadrian's Wall was constructed by the Picts, the ancestors of the Scottish people, to prevent the Romans from entering. Correct answer: Hadrian's Wall was constructed under the command of the Roman Emperor Hadrian. Explanation: the Romans never conquered parts of what is now Scotland, and Emperor Hadrian built a wall in northern England to keep the Picts, the ancestors of the Scottish people, out. Reference: Early Britain, the Romans. Who invaded England in 1066? Your options are: Richard the Lionheart, William of Normandy, Canute, Harold of Wessex. Correct answer: William of Normandy. Explanation: in 1066, an invasion led by William, the Duke of Normandy, in what is now northern France, defeated Harold, the Saxon King of England, at the Battle of Hastings. Reference: Early Britain, the Norman Conquest. We really hope that you have been finding this video useful so far. If so, please like this video and subscribe to the IB Academy channel. This motivates us to create more and better quality videos. Hadrian's Wall was constructed to keep out whom? Your options are: the Vikings, the Welsh, the Irish, the Picts. Correct answer: the Picts. Explanation: regions that are now part of Scotland were never taken over by the Romans, and Emperor Hadrian erected a wall in northern England to prevent the Picts, the ancestors of the Scottish people, from entering. Reference: Early Britain, the Romans. Which of the following was the last successful foreign invasion of England? Your options are: the Romans under Julius Caesar, the Vikings, the Normans under William, the Romans under Emperor Claudius. Correct answer: the Normans under William. Explanation: the Norman conquest marked the final successful foreign invasion of England, resulting in significant changes to the government and social systems. The Norman French language, spoken by the new ruling class, greatly influenced the evolution of modern English. Reference: Early Britain, the Norman Conquest. Who was defeated by William the Conqueror at the Battle of Hastings in 1066? Your options are: Kingnut, King Harold, Boudicca, Kenneth MacAlpin. Correct answer: King Harold. Explanation: in 1066, William, the Duke of Normandy, from what is now northern France, led an invasion that defeated Harold, the Saxon King of England, at the Battle of Hastings. Harold was killed during the battle. William then became the King of England and is referred to as William the Conqueror. Reference: the Norman Conquest. Is the statement below true or false? By around AD 600, Anglo-Saxon kingdoms were established in Britain. Your options are: false, true. Correct answer: true. Explanation: the Roman army left Britain in AD 410 to defend other parts of the Roman Empire and never returned. Britain was invaded again by tribes from northern Europe, the Jutes, the Angles, and the Saxons. The languages they spoke formed the foundation of modern English. Battles occurred against these invaders, but by around AD 600, Anglo-Saxon kingdoms were formed in Britain. These kingdoms were primarily located in what is now England. Reference: Early Britain, the Anglo-Saxons. During much of the Stone Age, how was Britain linked to the continent? Your options are: a bridge, a glacier, a land bridge, a tunnel. Correct answer: A land bridge. Explanation: the earliest inhabitants of Britain were hunter-gatherers from the Stone Age. For a significant part of this era, Britain was joined to the continent by a land bridge. These people traveled back and forth, following the deer and horses they hunted. Britain became permanently isolated from the continent by the Channel around 10,000 years ago. Reference: Chapter 3, A Long and Illustrious History, Early Britain. What was written on some Iron Age coins? Your options are: names of Iron Age settlements, value, dates, names of Iron Age kings. Correct answer: names of Iron Age kings. Explanation: the Iron Age people had a complex culture and economy. They produced the first coins in Britain, with some featuring the names of Iron Age kings. Where did the first farmers likely come to Britain from? Your options are: Northwest Europe, North America, Norway, Southeast Europe. Correct answer: Southeast Europe. Explanation: the first farmers arrived in Britain around 6,000 years ago. The ancestors of these initial farmers likely originated from Southeast Europe. William of Normandy invaded England in 1066. Where is Normandy? Your options are: Northern France, Norway, Southern Scotland, Denmark. Correct answer: Northern France. Explanation: in 1066, William, the Duke of Normandy, now in northern France, led an invasion that defeated Harold, the Saxon King of England, at the Battle of Hastings. Reference: the Norman Conquest. When did Julius Caesar lead the Roman invasion of Britain? Your options are: AD 55, AD 75, 55 BC, 65 BC. Correct answer: 55 BC. Explanation: Julius Caesar conducted a Roman invasion of Britain in 55 BC. Reference: Chapter 3, A Long and Illustrious History, Early Britain, the Romans. What did Iron Age people sometimes defend? Your options are: castles, hill forts, long walls. None of the above. Correct answer: hill forts. Explanation: following the Bronze Age was the Iron Age, during which people developed the ability to create weapons and tools from iron. They continued to inhabit roundhouses, forming larger communities, and occasionally defended locations known as hill forts. Which of the following statements are correct? Your options are: the Romans introduced new plants and animals to Britain. The Romans unified the whole of the British Isles. The Roman army faced no resistance during the invasions. The Romans built roads and public buildings, and created a structure of law. Correct answer: the Romans introduced new plants and animals to Britain. The Romans built roads and public buildings, and created a structure of law. Explanation: the Romans stayed in Britain for 400 years. They constructed roads and public buildings, established a legal system, and brought new plants and animals. Reference: the Romans. Who was Kenneth MacAlpin? Your options are: an Anglo-Saxon king, the Scottish king, a Danish king, a Viking. Correct answer: the Scottish king. Explanation: in the north, the threat of Viking attacks led the people to come together under one ruler, Kenneth MacAlpin. The name Scotland started to be used for that region. Reference: the Vikings. Is the statement below true or false? Saint Columba became the first Archbishop of Canterbury. Your options are: false, true. Correct answer, false. Explanation: Saint Augustine was the first Archbishop of Canterbury. Reference: Early Britain, the Anglo-Saxons. What actions did Saint Augustine and Saint Columba take during the Anglo-Saxon era? Your options are: they were early Christian missionaries. They led a revolt in Wales. They created new farming methods. They were brave fighters. Correct answer: they were early Christian missionaries. Explanation: missionaries from Ireland spread Christianity in the northern regions. The most notable among them were Saint Patrick, who became the patron saint of Ireland, and Saint Columba, who established a monastery on the island of Iona, located off the coast of present-day Scotland. Saint Augustine directed missionaries from Rome, who disseminated Christianity in the southern areas. Reference: the Anglo-Saxons. Is the statement below true or false? The fear of Viking attacks led the northern people to come together, and the name Scotland was used for that region. Your options are: false, true. Correct answer, true. Explanation: in the north, the danger of Viking invasions prompted the people to unite under a single ruler, Kenneth MacAlpin. The name Scotland started to be used for that area. Reference: the Vikings. Is the statement below true or false? The language spoken during the Iron Age belonged to the Celtic language family. Your options are: false, true. Correct answer, true. Explanation: the language they used was part of the Celtic language family. Who were the Picts? Your options are: ancestors of the Scottish people, ancestors of the Welsh people, ancestors of the English people, ancestors of the Irish people. Correct answer: ancestors of the Scottish people. Explanation: the regions that are now part of Scotland were never taken over by the Romans, and Emperor Hadrian constructed a wall in northern England to prevent the Picts, the ancestors of the Scottish people, from entering. Reference: the Romans. So, how many questions did you get correctly? Let us know in the comments section below. Also, please like this video if it helped you practice the test questions and subscribe to the IB Academy channel. Keep learning.